Durham, welcome to 1+1. It's lovely to see you.
I'm thrilled to be here. It's just great to meet you too.
A lot of us, including me, have soundtracks go on in our heads. Quite often I'll find myself whistling Georgie Girl.
Oh, wow.
I wonder, in your soundtrack, what music plays? Is it the early songs of the Seekers? Is it your solo songs? Or is it something completely different?
Oh, wow. Well, quite often, because I'm a composer, quite often it can be an affirmation that I've ended up composing a song about. That can happen, but you know, just songs get in your head, it doesn't matter what it is. So I do have so many different songs that I love, so it's usually just what's come to my attention and then they just fix themselves.
What do you think it is that connects us to a song? What makes us love a song?
Oh, well, of course, sentiment, no doubt, and songs like the Seekers classics, they can be lifelong things that people have from childhood, and then they have more and more significance as you grow older. Different emotional experiences will many men in particular can get extremely emotional.
YouTube videos, books, and it seems that you have never been out of the limelight for 60 or so years. Is it a burden being a cultural icon?
Cultural icon. Oh, goodness. There was a period in my life where I suppose I saw it slightly as a burden, because I was still trying to find my role in life, what my purpose in life was. And at one stage I really thought that I probably wasn't going to keep singing, or, you know, I just wasn't sure what I was meant to be doing. And I'm glad that I've lived a long time. And that's helped me, therefore, lose the sense of burden and see it as an honour and a privilege that people have kept me in their lives and have given me my sense of purpose to be something meaningful in their lives.
So can I ask you when it was that you felt that burden? How old were you?
During the late 70s, maybe, because I hadn't I wasn't too sure what role the Seekers' music was meant to play in my life. And it was as if it happened it did happen, it seemed to happen by chance. I now see it as destiny. We were coming overseas just as an adventure for 10 weeks. We had absolutely no idea we were going to stay in England and become pop stars. So the whole of life was sort of still to unfold for me, and I still thought I was going to go back to Australia. So the burden started to come when I got a bit, what I perceive as a sense of burden, when I couldn't get the role of, I wasn't pretty and I felt self-conscious, had weight problems. There were lots of that kind of thing which was a burden to me, and therefore if I was recognised in the street, I couldn't just be in the moment and hug the person and say, how lovely to meet you, knowing what I meant in their life. So there was always a self-consciousness which made a barrier for me.
You say that all of this was destiny. I want to take you back. You were born in the 40s. I understand that you didn't even meet your father until you were about 3 years old because he'd been away at war. Mm-hmm. And your sister, Beverly, always spoke of you having this great persistence, this great kind of self-knowledge that you could succeed. I mean, everybody says when they're a kid, I'm going to sing on stages and sing all over the world, but not everyone achieves that. You did.
I don't know where it came from. I just had such a joy and a deep feeling, emotional feeling of music. It just was all a natural part of life in those days. And there was no such thing as television. You see, this is what's hard for people to comprehend. Nothing. We had no television. We didn't even have a record player. We had the piano in the home and we listened to the radio. So aren't I lucky that that's how I was brought up, that we were just entertaining ourselves and it allowed us to develop an appreciation of music which was uplifting. And the songs our parents chose, we loved those songs, and our parents, of course, loved those songs, so it bonded us all together. Yes, very lucky.
So even by the time you were 18, by night you were performing jazz and you were singing, and by day you got a job. I always think of the TV show Mad Men when I read about this section of your life, about the advertising world, because you got a job as a secretary at J. Walter Thompson. Tell us about the other member of the Seekers who was working there and how you got the offer to join this group.
Well, you know, talking about destiny, it was destiny. I'd been working at the Royal Victorian Idea Hospital for 2 years. It was my first job as a secretary. I was the secretary to Dr. Greer, who was the pathologist. So there I was in my own office for 2 years. Paid not very much money. I enjoyed the work. Mum said, I think you should be earning a bit more money. Why don't you go and get a different job that'll pay more? So I went along and did an interview, not knowing what the firm was. I was sent for the interview, and I got out of the lift door on the 6th floor, and it said J. Walter Thompson Advertising. I thought, I don't know anything about advertising. That sounds too sophisticated for me. I probably won't get this job, but I'm here anyway. After I'd been for the interview, the person rang me who'd interviewed me and said, we'd like to offer you the job. So that very first day, I went to J. Walter Thompson. When I met the girls in the office, they said, oh, there's another person who sings in this office. His name's Athol Guy. And so
I welcome you guys back on here. If you consider subscribing, liking, and also share this video. So today we are remembering the life, the legacy of the lady known as Judith Durham, who was born as Judith Mavis Cock on 3rd July 1943, and of course she passed on in 2022 around August 5th, having suffered with a couple of health-related issues. This was a lady who was an Australian singer, a songwriter, a musician, and of course she became the lead singer of the Australian folk music group, that is the Seekers, in 1962. The group became the first Australian pop music group to achieve major chart and sales success in the UK and of course the US, and sold close to 50 million records worldwide. Unprecedentedly, you know, Durham left the group in the mid-1968 to pursue her solo career, and we saw her in 1993 beginning to make a sporadic when it came to sporadic recordings and performances with the Seekers again, though she remained primarily a solo performer. On July 2015, she was named the Victorian of the Year for her services to music and a range of charities. No wonder that even when she passed on, she was given a state funeral. She was really one of those talented musicians, a lady who was within male, the likes of Keith Pottinger, Springfield, and the others. And of course we saw her actually she was really talented. She could do drums, she could sing, she could do piano, a couple of instruments here and there, and of course she was highly respected within the spheres of Australia, not only Australia but of course in Europe, UK, and the world at large. So her death was really very, very shocking, because they say that she had been born with asthma, and at the age of 4 she caught measles, which left her with a lifelong chronic lung issue named as bronchiectasis, and she died from the disease at Alfred Hospital, that was in Melbourne, in 2022 at the age of 79. We continue praying for her, for the fans, and everyone who was really close to Judith. R.I.P. to the Queen.